What's going on, everybody? It is Monday Night Live right here on ITR Clips. I feel like Stephanie McMahon or Triple H every time I do this. They're like, welcome to, they love that shit. Welcome, guys, to ITR Clips. It is I, Alex McCarthy, being flanked by my regular co-host, SP3, and the godfather of all inside the ropes, Kenny McIntosh himself is in the house to talk about a bumper weekend of wrestling. Kenny, you're fresh off tour, brother. How is it?
Well, yeah, good. We did have a slight hiccup where RVD didn't make it to Cork. We had to cancel the show.
Was there a cancelled flight? Talk us through that. What happened, man?
I'm gonna be nice and just say there were travel issues.
Sure.
Not involving me.
Right.
And
very clear.
But we did everything to rectify that and to try and make it happen. And then it was like RVD wasn't going to get into Cork till like 11 p.m. So there was a point because we were like, okay, we're going to delay the Cork show because we did Regal in the weekend. It was great. We did RVD in London. It was great. So Rob was trying to get to Cork and he was like, any way I can get there, just pay for it. I'll pay you back. Let me know. I'll get there. So he was going to get in at like 8:30 to Cork. So we were going to then go on stage at 9
right,
till 10:20, then do the VIP afterwards. And it was okay. I mean, that means we're going to stop at midnight, but okay, we can just about make it work. So then Rob finds out his flight is delayed from 7 p.m. to 8:35, which means he won't get into Cork till 10. And then the promoter's like, oh, I know. So then the room we were in was going to become a club night at 11. So we had to be out of that room by 11. So then he was like, I know what we'll do. We'll tell the jazz bands who are going to play in the cafe to not play, and then we'll put the 150 people in there. But we can only fit 100 seats, so we'll need to go down the queue and see who's volunteering to get a refund. And I was like, it's over. It's over now. Like at this point, so then we had to go down the queue and tell everybody that it was cancelled. So it's like, I was like a Raw girl, but the worst version because I was A, not giving you any Monday Night Raw, and B, I didn't have the tits to back it up. But I did have this
great Bex though.
The Irish accent I do warn me. So this one guy, as I'm telling everyone this really serious news, that I'm really sorry, we tried everything, and this guy was like, sure, if I can't get a photo with Rob Van Dam, I'll get a photo with you. And then just puts a phone in my face. So I'd take the photo. And then this other guy walks up to me with a really serious expression. I was like, he's going to tell me he's like paid for flights to get here. Like I was really expecting the most serious of questions. And he went, have you met Roman Reigns? Is he nice? And I was like, Roman Reigns is nice. He is nice.
Yeah, he is. He is nice.
He is nice.
Unless you're doing a kayfabe press conference. But yes, generally, he's very nice.
Sorry, pause for Alex to acknowledge him. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. But I was actually thinking about, I'm not going to say it because I don't. The last time we were on here, I was too honest with one opinion. And I was so honest that Alex winced when I said it. And I was like, I need to be better at not, like, I can't say that someone has the charisma of some sellotape, even though it proves to continue to be true every single week.
It wasn't so bad that you did that, and then you put it straight on me, and you said, "Well, tell me I'm wrong. Who else?" And I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, they're going to get buried to high heaven.
Because usually I'm doing podcasts behind a paywall, so I can just say anything. But when it's on this, it's like, you said that Billy Ray shouldn't have won the Battle Royal, and send it to him, and he'll be like, "Who the fuck are you? Who did you ever beat?" Look, this the whole argument of like you can't have an opinion because you don't wrestle. I don't need to be a chef to tell you your fucking paella is shite. Do you know what I mean? I know.
True.
I mean, I don't eat paella, but you know what I mean. If I was to be healthy.
Yeah, no, they know Kenny's on the show.
Absolutely.
When Kenny is Adam Cole your favorite wrestler? We won't do that any.
Do you know what though? He's not in any matches, so he's great for me.
Listen, did Rob Van Dam? I saw tweets saying that he was gonna get to the airport and have some drinks. Did that happen?
Yeah, he did. He had drink. He met people at the Cork airport hotel. So we got back from the venue at like 11:15, and he just got off the plane. So he would have not even got to the venue till 11. So it would have been a disaster if we kept it going.
Yeah.
So then we're sitting in the airport bar with the promoter, and I've got this bottle of Absolute vodka that he's got me. So I'm fucking, ordering the pints of Pepsi and doing the wee number into the glass in the bar. And Rob's over at the bar. But what was funny was, so earlier in the day, so this is just mundane chat about me, apologies. So Ollie, producer extraordinaire, Ollie was like, do you know what? Let me buy you a drink. I was like, finally, finally he's gonna get around. So we go to the bar and the guy serving just goes, oh, Kenny McIntosh, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm doing a show with Rob Van Dam. He's like, oh, and I'm working, fuck's sake. And then later on I was like, that guy is going to be working his shift and Rob Van Dam's going to turn up to meet fans. And he's going to be like, what the fuck happened? But anyway, so when we were buying the drinks, he gave us a free round, which was like 28 quid, which Ollie didn't have to pay. And then we came back later and I told him the story. He said, pal, you can have as much Pepsi Max as you like. You don't need to pay a thing. As if I'm the one with real problems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're the one who needs the free Pepsi Max, not the people who are on the bread line. I mean, I took it, obviously. But yeah.
Oh, of course.
I was about to say, let's not get cracking carried away here. But I digress, man. I heard nothing but great things about William Regal in particular. And you got a night out of Rob Van Dam, right? So
I was in the same bar at a separate area. Because I was like, I'm weird. I don't want to hang out with a wrestler. Like, there's people who you will see them, they're like Dixie Carter, dry humping Hulk Hogan leg hanging out with them. Like, That's not me. That's not my, like my other half, Steve Gunn. He never wants to meet wrestlers. Some people are like, they always want to. He's like, do not introduce me to one of your wrestlers. I was like, they're not mine. They're not my property.
Your wrestlers.
Your wrestlers.
I put Edge in front of him at one point and he was like, the fuck did you do that for? I was like, I'm sorry, I think you thought you wanted to meet one of your favourites.
But Kenny, lest we forget, you are the European Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Not my words. Not my words.
I used to be. I think I'm now the European. I don't know who's a shite promoter. Anyway, let's not get that conversation.
Yeah, that's another one.
We could list a lot of them.
Oh, I mean, Jesus.
How are you? How are you two?
Let's ask SB3. How are you, man? How's all things True Hill Heat?
I'm doing great after that story. That story popped me so much. Great stuff. No, but yeah, it was a busy weekend of wrestling. Like a lot to take in and a lot for us to discuss today.
As always here on Monday Night Live. Remember, guys, give us the thumbs up and all of that good stuff. Subscribe to ITR Clips. Help out the show. Help out some brothers and enjoy the wrestling content. You can talk to us in the live chat. We always appreciate it. Those of you that stop by, such as Thomas Lipayet. Even if that isn't your
name, how you say it?
That's how we're saying it now. I mean,
no.
I think I probably went too soft on two P's, but Lipayet it is. Anyway, love the show and all of ITR. Thank you, brother. We appreciate. Speaking of ITR, my Liv Morgan interview, the former champion now, went on the Inside the Ropes channel last week. So if you want to check out what she had to say about becoming champion and whatnot, feel free to go over there and check it out.
Some great stuff about Ronda Rousey in there. It's a very good interview. If only she could have had half as good a match as you had in an interview, we'd have been set.
That's the eternal problem, probably. I would have thought. No.
Where's the lie?
Where will you find it?
Acting like I just said something really controversial.
I mean, I'll wait till we start talking about the show, but
let's do it. Right, Extreme Rules.
Try to get over it.
Exactly, Extreme Rules up first. But while we're here, let's use that as a jumping off point, right? Liv Morgan. That was the only title change on the show, correct? Liv Morgan dropping the belt to Ronda Rousey, right? It was probably one that a lot of people called.
Yes,
from a distance. The only thing was, if they really wanted to make Liv Morgan, this was lurking in the back of people's minds, she had to beat her again. When I was interviewing Liv Morgan and she mentioned that she's already beaten her twice, I did think to myself, don't think you're going to get a third. That doesn't sound plausible to me. And just the more and more you think about it, the people that are at the top of the card, women-wise, would be very hard to, you know what I mean? They would have had to have done it before now to have Liv Morgan go super strong in the main event. Like 9 times out of 10, if you are going to be an underdog babyface champion, you've got to be, I'm not saying Liv Morgan can't go but fuck, you got to really wrestle, right? Like Danielson, we're talking about here, or Punk when he was like the underdog smaller champion, Mysterio. You want to be the underdog babyface, you got to wrestle. And they didn't position her in a way where she was going to wrestle circles around Ronda Rousey, is the point that I'm making here. SB3, we'll start with you, man, because I know Kenny's going to have some thoughts. What did you think about the result, for one, putting it back on Ronda, right, heading into the latter part of the year, WrestleMania season encroaching, but secondly, how the match went down? Because I hate to be this guy, there were some sloppy spots in there, man. There was a few sloppy spots.
Yeah, I would say so. The result was the only result WWE could do at this time because basically, I'll say the elephant in the room. Triple H used Liv Morgan's title reign to facilitate Ronda Rousey getting over more. It's plain as day now. It is what it is. It happened. They made the right decision by putting the title back on her. The match itself was bad. And I'm going to say it because I don't know if everybody else will say it. Ronda was the better worker in that matchup because Liv Morgan, I appreciate her getting over. She is so charismatic, so likable, and she has such a great character. She could be a great underdog babyface, and she's improved so much. But those were the worst steel chair shots since Hulk Hogan in 1995 on the Dungeon of Doom. Those were the worst. Those were the worst bat shots since a girl's 7-year-old wiffle ball game that I saw back in 1995 when I was 7 years old. These were horrible. It was so bad. And yes, very slappy, not very good. Ronda Rousey tried to carry her to a better finish. The finish was all right. And I'm happy that Liv Morgan has a character change coming out of it. But the match itself, not very good.
I mean, is that the worst thing? If, like, you're looking at, let's just put yourself in Triple H's shoes for a second. Having Ronda Rousey regain some popularity out of this feud, probably the best case scenario. I don't know if I'm being unfair there. Kenny, man, what do you think about everything SB3 just said and what unfolded?
I mean, I love that SP3 gave this look as if like I said something bad, and he was just like, "This is the worst thing a 7-year-old could do better." I remember being in a playground and someone had more heat, which I appreciate. I like that I'm rubbing off on you, SP3. But the match was bad. It was bad because the thing is, to your point, Alex, she needed to have this valiant underdog match where like she looked really good in defeat, and the fact that Ronda's a better worker. I mean, I don't even think if you sat down Ronda Rousey, who seems a fairly sensitive person about her profession anyway, I think even she would go, yeah, like I shouldn't have been the better worker there. Like I should have, because I'm really 2 years into this. If you think about like real time together. I mean, the smile when she was in the choke, what was that all about? Why was she doing the weird smile? Are we in 50 Shades of Grey? What's going on? It was bad. Liv Morgan, like I love that documentary she had on the network. I thought it was really good, really strong.
I did.
I loved it.
But I think she's regressed. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's just, she choked on the big stage of the run. And like, if you're WWE, and I know fans probably don't want to hear this because it's like a businessy thing, but how much money are you paying Ronda Rousey? How much are you going to get back for Ronda Rousey compared to Liv Morgan? And if Liv Morgan then is showing you nothing in the run, then like, I mean, if they had put Liv Morgan over here, it would have been criminal compared to, what Ronda can do.
Yeah. You make interesting points there because with Liv Morgan, like how many times is the champion not going to like general the match? You know what I mean? Like who was leading what was going on in the ring, I guess, because from an experience standpoint, lest we forget, Liv Morgan's like what, nearly 10 years deep?
Yeah. Well, do you know something I was thinking about, and I think this is like a fair point to make. So, if you ever go to like the theater, right? Say you go and see like a play or a musical or whatever, and you're watching this play, and all of a sudden one of the actors flubs a line, right? It's like you all of a sudden go from being really comfortable and enjoying it to like really on edge. Like, oh no, is this gonna happen again? Like, and then you're kind of on edge for a couple of minutes until they've kind of got back in the groove and you can relax. With Liv Morgan, I'm on edge the whole time because I'm like, oh God, does she know the next move? Has she got it? Oh, she got it. I shouldn't be feeling that way. Like, that's not how you should be feeling as a fan. I
No.
think that's part of the problem.
Mate, that I was exactly the same for different reasons when Goldberg faced Drew. Right, the entire match, I was that scared that they were going to make that terrible decision again. I was that terrified that and people were going, "Oh, it's great though," because no, it wasn't great that I was that worried about something. That isn't the investment that I should be looking for from wrestling. It was shite. But yeah, I mean, Liv for what her ceiling was once upon a time, you've got to say that she's exceeded what expectations were even just 2 or 3 years ago for her. And I'm not saying she didn't ever have the propensity to become like one of the top babyface acts, because she does have a lot of the things you would look for in a very likable top, good guy. She definitely does have it. And I feel like the momentum came Money in the Bank last year. Remember, a lot of people wanted her to win it, but Nikki Ash won it. And that carried over this year. But my concern all along, and I wanted to be optimistic as I always am, but as soon as she did win it, very much like Nikki Ash, you're thinking, right, well, unless you go all in, right, unless you then start, like Hangman Page when he became champion, right, Danielson, these, he's very strong starts where they tell you this guy is on this level. Having Liv Morgan kind of straight away with Ronda again, like never quite escaping her, I just felt like she's never getting out of this alive. She was never getting out of the Ronda Rousey feud alive. Never, ever. Like, what do you do with Ronda Rousey then, moving into her next feud when she's been soundly beaten by Liv Morgan over the course of 3 months? Come on now. It's never going to happen. And I don't mean that of any disrespect to Liv Morgan, but it goes back to what Kenny said from a business standpoint. Like, whether you like it or not, Ronda Rousey is one of the poster girls or, pillars now, maybe there's a better term for it than that, of the women's division. And you better believe Triple H, who went out of his way to make her look like an absolute $17 million wrestler on her debut, you best believe he thinks of her in that light. If you thought Vince McMahon liked her, you better wake up. Triple H likes her a hell of a lot more. So yeah, I feel like it was bound to happen. And as we get to this Survivor Series season, which seems to be revamped, which I'm excited about, by the way, there could be something interesting for her there. And as we get into WrestleMania season, now what? Because Charlotte looks like she's going to be coming back in the fairly near future. We saw the vignette for her during Survivor Series. It was kind of a general ad, to be honest, but kind of a vignette. Just laying cards on the table right now for the both of you. Both women's belts at WrestleMania. What do you think?
I would go for, I'm going to try and be cautiously optimistic about what I think. I think it's going to be on the Raw side, Becky and Ronda. I think, the SmackDown side will be Becky and Ronda, and the Raw side I think will be Bayley and Sasha. I think Sasha will be back by then. She's going to see that Triple H was serious about the changes and that things are better. Because that's the thing, it's not like Raw all of a sudden has become like, these are the best 3 hours of my life. It's just, they're good.
They're better. Yeah.
I don't feel, because you know how usually when you watch WWE, under Vince, when you watch WWE, you'd be like, oh God, what are they going to do to him or her?
Yeah.
You would have that thing. Whereas now you kind of go, I actually am not that worried anymore. Like Bray Wyatt, I'm not that worried because Triple H is someone who seems through all of the changes he's making, whether it's, I'd say wrestling again, I'd say hospital, 2-man announce booths, intro packages again, like all this stuff that he's doing are all very simple things. So I think that Sasha's going to see, and she's a Triple H gal, essentially. So I think that, I think Sasha, Bayley for one of the belts, Becky and Ronda for the other.
So no Flair Belair, or is that just a non-title?
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't like the idea that you always have to have these triple threats, so you have something else. So
I don't either.
I like the idea. I would just do. They should just do a storyline where it's like Bianca and Charlotte, have them both on each brand going, where's my match or whatever, and then have them have a big grudge match in WrestleMania, and the winner gets to fight the champion of their choice. So they can kind of go, Charlotte can say, am I going to choose the winner of Ronda and Becky because I've got history with both of them, or am I going to, I think that you can do something like that, but how many 3 ways do we talk about and remember, or 4 ways? It's a handful. And the last time
Apart from-
Charlotte Flair was in a 3-way at WrestleMania, it was utter bollocks. So let's not revisit that.
apart from this freeway happening right now.
I've not been a part of any 3-ways before, but this is the first time. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Please don't.
No, I know I won't. We'll get shut. Monetizing will never happen.
Those
Absolutely.
jumping jacks are coming back to you.
There you go. I agree with the Becky Ronda half for SmackDown, but I do think it's going to be Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair, or excuse me, Bianca Cena, because of the way she was booked at Extreme Rules. I don't see Bianca Cena dropping this title anytime soon after she put the Damage Control in their place.
What? Because wasn't that the time where like surely Bailey was going to win? Like,
thank you.
We said this last week.
I was
were
utterly baffled watching this match. I was like, there was so many. If Bianca was going to win, don't let Damage Control get involved. Let her be the smart babyface, puts a forklift in front of their door so they don't get involved.
Yeah.
So we see Bianca's better than Bailey one-on-one. Now we know Bianca's better than Bailey one-on-one, 3-on-1. It don't matter. She's going to win.
In saying that though, it's still like Shakespeare compared to the AEW women's division.
Absolutely.
Can I very quickly, because I've
sidebar.
I cannot believe Saraya means nothing so soon. It's impressive how they have done it. Like her first physicality in 5 years with Britt Baker was in the middle of a 6-woman nothing tag, and they start fighting and there's no reaction on a 3-year anniversary show. Like, how do you mock? It's like me, right? I hate wrestling, like the wrestling part of wrestling. It's my least favorite thing of wrestling. I love everything else. Sandra and I just watched the Raw Roulette episode of Raw from October 7th, 2002. And there was a Vegas showgirl match with Goldust and William Regal.
Amazing.
And Regal had to be the showgirl, and I was like, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great wrestling. Great wrestling.
5 stars, right?
I agree.
So, like, the wrestling part of it for me sometimes is a bit like, ugh, whatever. So, the idea that, like, so if Tony Khan says, I really like booking women's wrestling, right? That would be like me booking New Japan. You'd see Kali sneaking in there. You'd see Okada getting attacked in a car park. You'd see so much stuff that I like because you book for what
Yano
like.
World Champion.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah. Well, but when they had that brawl, I was it's so sad. Like it didn't mean anything. And it's another example. So I feel like in 2 weeks, Shiordi is just another woman. So at least with Bianca and Bailey, at least they're over and they're stars and they're doing something. And maybe Bailey will, I don't know, maybe they'll get another member of Damage Control that will allow her to win the title.
Yeah, I've said for a long time, I think Bailey and Sasha, you do have to do that at WrestleMania at some point. There are some feuds, I always think Rock and Triple H is a shame that never happened at WrestleMania 1-on-1. And I think it'd be a shame if Bailey and Sasha went the same way. But yeah, I've got to tell you, by the way, before we move on to the rest of Extreme Rules card, I'm very much like Kenny. If a 2 or 3 hour show was just match after match after match, I wouldn't watch wrestling, right? I need the drama and the stories and the characters. That's the whole point, right? I like wrestling, and when there's a great match, and I do like some really technical workers. I've said this before, like some of the, Dynamite Kid, Benoit, Danielson archetypes are some of my favorites to watch. But I still wouldn't even do that for just 2 hours, right? Like I need some of the juice. I need Mae Young popping out hands. That's what I need. Give me that.
There's your quote. There's your headline. I need Mae Young popping out hands. Can we get Derek Brown back to get back from the dead? Get another hand popped out?
Yeah. And where's Big Dick Johnson while we're at it? Bring them all back, man. Bring them all back.
To be fair, you have been on the Bailey Sasha train for years.
I have.
On Twitter. But even pre-COVID, you were on that train. So
even then, even before they were, the superstars of COVID. But alas, who knows? I don't know. I was about to say I wouldn't if Vince McMahon was still around, I wouldn't have faith. But I think Triple H might actually think that's a good idea. Nonetheless, let's move along to Extreme Rules. Since we last did this show, we've had SmackDown and Extreme Rules. So we've seen a lot of Gunther and Sheamus. I mean, they're becoming sort of like career rivals. I think, when you think of Sheamus and who gave him his best matches, Walter's going to be up there. And thus far on the main roster, I think you could say the same the other way around. Sheamus came up short on Friday. He got the victory on Saturday in the Donnybrook rules match. Donnybrook, I said. You heard me.
Donnybrook match.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned.
Not like those new modern Donnybrooks. They're hell.
Modern Donnybrooks go on TikTok.
No, they desecrate the old Donnybrooks. They do. No homage paid. I mean, again, I guess the right result if Walter Gunther is not going to be jettisoned to the main event, keep him with the IC title, keeping it strong for the time being. Or, I guess it's a shame Sheamus didn't get to complete the collection. Whichever way you look at it, there was investment for both angles. But I think what we can all agree on, the action was pretty damn good, wasn't it? The chemistry was great. The energy in the opening bout was really good for me. SB3.
Match of the night. That was the match of the night. So many good workers in there and having a great match. I didn't need all the other props and stuff. Just them brawling and hitting each other very hard. Like the way the crowd got on their feet when Sheamus hit the beats of the Bowery on Gunther. That's the type of energy you want and want to see this feud continue to probably end with Sheamus winning the Intercontinental Championship. The match on SmackDown was great. Not as good as Clash of the Castle, but great. And mostly it wasn't as good because of that wonky finish with the Brazilian tap out and stuff. Like I was like, I was like, no, we didn't need that. And it looked like it was missed time. It looked like Imperium come out late. I was like, nah, you tried, but nah, let's not do that. But the Donnybrook match, excellent. I think you can end the feud there if you want to keep the momentum for the Brawling Brutes to go forward, be baby faces, and then Gunther can move on to something new for the Intercontinental Championship. So I have no complaints about what they did at Extreme Rules.
When we fight in the UK, there's barrels everywhere. Loads of barrels. You know how we do it over here. Kenny, what do you think, man, coming out of this? SB3 just made a good point there. I guess the Brawling Brutes are baby faces now. Sheamus is kind of getting the respect I think he's secretly craved for a long time. Kenny and I sat down with Sheamus. I think he would attest to as much when we were together in Cardiff. What vibe did you get after that chat, Kenny, and where he's headed now?
Yeah, I mean he's loving it, right? He's Michelle McCool. He's loving life, right? He's there. He's enjoying himself. He's finally. Do you remember she'd be like in a clothing store picking up a blouse. I'm Michelle McCool and I'm loving life.
Yeah, I do remember.
Amazing.
I do.
Amazing. How much money did you pay people to come up with that? Anyway, Sheamus, he's had a lot of stuff, right? Remember he had the big show with the big chair. He's fighting Del Rio for about 4 years. Like, there's a lot of stuff, right? But this feels like this is his. I don't know if when he retires in 10 years or whatever, I don't know if you can, even now, if you can point to anything else that's been as good for him as the Gunther feud or Gunter, whatever you call him in a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But I think it's been great. And I think that he still might get the belt to complete the collection. I'm sure he will. But it's like, here's another example, like Triple H, Gunther is somebody who's new. He's fresh. They don't want to beat him yet. So I think it's good to, and, Gary Monroe there with a comment, it's like Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland's this is great for him to be, he said here, lifting both Ludwig and Giovanni. That was great. Ridge is coming out of the match with like so much more stuff. And he's in there with like Butch and Sheamus. It's the best place for him to be. Sheamus said to us about, the infamous neck injury of Big E, and it had been because they cut a lot of time and Ridge is new. I mean, I would, as someone who has never wrestled, I took 2 flat back bumps before watching a pay-per-view at a wrestler's gym one time, and I was like, that's enough for me. But like, I imagine if you're a wrestler, being in there with Imperium and Sheamus and Butch is pretty much the best learning curve you can get. So I think it's good for all of them. And Pete Dunne getting over as Butch really tickles me. It's really, really good because he essentially is Pete Dunne, but he's still being called Butch, and it's great. It's because it's the purists who hate that he's called Butch. I almost want him to win one single title as Butch just for annoyance purposes. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm the same with I said this at Clash of the Castle. Like, everyone is slyly loving Butch now. Like you can't help it, kind of thing. And I think it's because of the preface that it is Pete Dunne that makes what he's doing that much more kind of lovable and amusing. Because if you do know Pete's real personality, like some of us do, or most of us do on screen, but having spoken to him a fair amount off of it, he's so far removed from what Butch is. It just makes it very, very funny to me. But yeah,
how many times do you think you've interviewed him?
Jesus.
Because I've interviewed him about 7 times, so you must be about 42.
It's seriously, it's probably close to 10. Yeah, Jesus.
And he's not a chatty man.
He's not even so sometimes like I messaged him when he became Butch and I basically said like, what the fuck is that about? And I could tell he was pretty offended. He was like, well, it's the same. He said it's the same wrestler. I'm just called something else. I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. I support you. I acknowledge you, Pete. You know how
I mean, he became the Artful Dodger initially. Let's be honest. I mean, he was one stop away from saying "Consider Yourself" at the start. But I mean, I think the other thing is, remember Jericho said years ago that like he loved having different gear because he could then have more figures and make more money. Like Pete's going to make so much money off the original Butch figure if they do one with him in the original gear. Yeah, so he'll get money out of it. He'll be fine. He can buy as many Greg's vegan sausage rolls, which he detests, by the way. I asked him once, as he likes.
I do. I am delighted though to see him get a showcase under Triple H because you just know that Triple H will treat him well, and that same sentiment goes for Gunther. Like names be damned. You know that he'll book Gunther well. The only bad booking Gunther's ever had in WWE was under Vince McMahon. At Survivor Series and all of this other stuff. So. Triple H, as far as NXT goes, always treated him like the star that he is. And let me tell you, he's in that conversation. He is one of them people that when you think about who's going to be a next world champion, I'm not saying he's the guy who should end Roman because I don't know if he's a poster guy. But he is like a perennial world champion kind of wrestler. I want to see him and Brock so bad. So bad. I want to see Brock just take a chop, but I just don't think he'll ever want to do it.
Can I ask a tangented question off the Extreme Rules road?
Yes.
Who do you both think now? Just putting it out there. Who's Brock's WrestleMania opponent?
Roman,
probably.
That's a good guess.
No.
if you ask me for right now, if he's working, I would say Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, maybe. It all depends, right? Because you look at Roman is likely, The Rock is likely, and possibly on top of that, whoever wins the Rumble, which many would argue is Cody, right? So let's take that off the table. Imagine there's still one title. There is only a few options for Brock, bearing in mind that Brock doesn't want to work with anyone he doesn't want to work with, right?
Exactly.
So it's either Lashley is feasible. Mm-hmm. He does actually have unfinished business with Drew, and I would like to see them have something more than what they had because I know they could. I know they could have like a good 10, 12-minute car crash, like just going at each other instead of that stupid finisher fest they had when Drew first won the belt. That pissed me off. So you could do that. I still have a great interest in seeing Brock beat the fuck out of Riddle. just because of like the same reason I would watch Riddle and Goldberg, because I'd be fascinated at what happens. Like, do you know what I mean?
I actually have
the backstory.
I have a match, and I think this is feasible to happen. And I think if it happened, people would lose their fucking mind. I think Brock and Gunther could be the match.
That's what I'm saying. That needs to be the match. That needs to be the match. Like, I just don't know if Brock is gonna be clamoring to get chopped around by Gunther.
I mean, you get John there's talking about Brock and Bray as a possibility. I don't think Bray would work very well with Brock. I don't think that Brock's someone who needs to be like, this is a fight, as if we're like out at outside the pub at 3 a.m. This is a fight. And I don't think Bray's that kind of guy. But I think if you get him with Gunther, he it would be so good.
I think Brock and Gunther could be real magic. But as much as I've grown to love Brock, and there was a time, we were talking about Sheamus earlier. There was a time when he was a babyface many moons ago that I was like, fucking hell. Like, it was, do you know what I mean? I was just like, mate. And he even said it when we were in our interview, didn't he, Kenny? He was like, everyone wanted me to go away. Like, he knew it. I had that same feeling with Lesnar, I think, after 34 WrestleMania, where everyone was like, we're just getting tired of this, man. You just turn up and beat everyone and fuck off. Like, everyone was getting annoyed. But I kind of turned the corner on him. But there is still that lingering part of my mind that remembers that Dean Ambrose was like, or Moxley was like, all of these things we can do, Brock. And Brock was like,
yeah,
that just hangs in my mind where he's like, we don't need to do all that shit, But
But
I
then,
don't know.
like in my mind, I always think about the idea that like Brock's not booking the show, right? Brock doesn't really care. He's just like, I'll fight who I fight. When the Samoa Joe series that summer in 2017, like
I think he cares a little more than we anticipate.
Yeah.
I mean, look at his performance in the 2020 Royal Rumble. Like that
amazing. Performance. That was amazing.
Even the way with Keith Lee comes in, oh big boy, that was so good.
But him and yeah, man. But him and Heyman like helped write that Rumble, when you could tell, right? Because they were like invested in what they were doing. I think that you've had a couple of these years where you look at the AJ Styles at Survivor Series and the Bryan and the Balors, and like there was a host of people that he worked with that you could tell that he wanted to work with.
Is there an argument with Brock that like, are we more annoyed by the booking of him rather than
for a while? For a while, I think that's a very solid argument. But there, again, we're at this stage now where he's worked Roman like 4 times on the bounce, 4 or 5, and it's like, okay,
7.
well,
7 one-on-one matches.
Yeah, on the bounce, I meant like. I think it's still 4 in a row, which is insane. But so it's like, okay, who's next for Brock and where is he at? Because at one point before Gable Stevenson kind of stalled, I was almost certain that they were going to, rocket him, and it was going to be them at WrestleMania, where it's this one or the one after. But whoever you put with Brock at this stage in his career, he's got so much equity. It really has to be a big deal. You're either really going to make somebody proper like Gunther, or because surely Brock's days of winning the titles and being the part-time guy, are they coming to a close? I honestly, it's very hard to call with Brock. He's in a weird place.
I think he's more of a special attraction guy. He's going to be more of like filling that spot that The Undertaker had at WrestleMania. It's not the street type of match, but kind of like the special attraction type of match. That's why I don't think it's going to be Gunther. I think they're going to keep the Intercontinental Championship on him and finally have a great match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, because when was the last time any of us said that wasn't a ladder match? I think we got to go back decades. So put Gunther in there with Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. That's the type of show-stealing match that the Intercontinental title needs to further develop this, because it's good what they're doing right now, but it really matters when it comes to these big events. You have to have the Intercontinental Championship on the show, and Gunther just won it in June. I can see him holding it up until next year's WrestleMania.
Ryan Klotz says Lesnar versus Riddle receipt match. I would like to remind people, when I was at the Rumble, I did break that news of the backstage coming together of Lesnar and Riddle, where Lesnar said he would never work with Riddle. Although Seth Rollins said the same thing, and they're pals now. So, or pals is maybe strong.
Co-workers.
They're peers. They're working together.
Colleagues.
There you go. And then Queen Monet says, Brock versus Edge is interesting for some reason. Protect Edge's neck at all costs, man.
That's a good shout. Brock and Edge is interesting, but the problem with that is, how do you do the match without Brock doing the stiff stuff
what Brock
he
does? Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
That's the problem.
And they have to find some type of medium, because Brock's matches tend to go 5 to 10 minutes, and Edge's matches tend to go 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So they got to find some type of middle ground there. It's like Triple H versus Brock. They didn't find any middle ground. Those matches were very long, drawn out.
But do you remember, I always remember in 2001, 2002, and they would talk about Goldberg and Austin is the match that people want, right? They would always, Goldberg and Austin, that'd be great. And I understand why Austin did this, so this is not me slating him for it before people think. But after the neck injury, I always found it really difficult to get invested in Undertaker Austin matches because he couldn't take the last ride, he couldn't take the tombstone. So you really only had the choke slam, which wasn't viable as a finish. So I was never really able to get invested in their matches. If Goldberg and Austin had had a match, there's no way Goldberg would have been able to do the jackhammer or any of the stuff. So I feel like with Edge and Brock, it's like if he can't do any German suplexes and has to go easy, I feel like it would be more disappointing to people who would want to see all that stuff that they've played out in 2K22 or whatever.
I should have done Triple H and Edge when Edge first came back, and like 2 hour Iron Man.
God, imagine them at that empty arena WrestleMania having that last man standing match for 40 years. Oh,
I always see if I was a wrestler in my 40s, I would be so happy to have a great 12-minute match.
Yes.
Oh, call me the king of the 12 minutes. I mean, well, I've been called that before, but that's multiple times. But
Brock is.
Who in their mind goes, you know what? I really want to wrestle for 40 minutes and people enjoy it. 40-minute matches are bad for the most part. I mean, some people think they're great. You lose me. I mean, I remember being. This will make you laugh. I once went to a Dragon Gate show. Right? Fuck me. Wow. So it was vile, absolutely vile, because it was just tombstones and Canadian destroyers, and I'm sure somebody gets set on fire. And then somebody won with a roll up. What? It just makes no sense. So
they got you. They got you.
That's how I felt. I was watching GCW this weekend, and it was like Joey Janela versus Cole Radrick putting each other through chairs and doors, and then Joey Janela won with the roll up. I was like, Kenny McIntosh would be ripping his hair off.
Furious.
Furious. It's the most protected move in wrestling. That's deadly. A good roll up. A good roll-up. Well, let's talk about those matches while we're here, because we do have to get to Bray Wyatt as the climax. But let's run through these matches fairly quickly. Finn Balor and Edge, while we're here. I Quit. 30 minutes, or 5 seconds shy of 30 minutes they went. The only thing, there's a lot of things, but the main thing is SB3 and I pretty much called the finish to a T last week. We said Beth Phoenix was going to get involved. They were going to force Edge to quit that way. They fuck her over anyway, like some good heels would do. But you could kind of see it coming because there wasn't many ways it could have gone otherwise. And Judgment Day really did need the win. Where the hell does presumably now it's Edge and Beth versus Finn and Rhea, presumably. Could have been 10 minutes or so shorter though, Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who says that the first 10 minutes could have been scrapped, I agree with. But to me, that last 15 minutes is maybe the best 15 minutes of a match WWE have done this year. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it. I thought Michael Cole was amazing on commentary. There was points where he was like, when Edge was in the handcuffs and they were just beating him up. Michael Cole's like, "What the hell is this? This is horrific!" And he's just like screaming. And I was getting angry. I was like visibly getting angry because I was like, "Motherfucker!" Like, and I was getting into it. And then like every bit of the run-in made sense. Ray not hitting Dominic, Dominic hitting Ray, Edge low blowing Dominic in response to the low blow from Cardiff, Rhea and Beth, the dream match thing, the fans, the whole thing was just like 10 out of 10. So like for me, I'll take 15 slow minutes to get the 15 great minutes. Like that almost like then cancels it out for me. Yeah. I do understand that people who watch it for the wrestling are like, that could have been shorter.
Yeah, I do think it offsets it. And, maybe eventually, as Ace has alluded to here, maybe we do just get Beth and Rhea at some point. I think the crowd will be down for it. It's a real star maker for Rhea as well. There are a lot of things they can do here. Getting kind of like Kane Undertaker vibes almost from the Dominic and Ray, where Ray's kind of playing the Undertaker of like, I'm not going to beat up my flesh and blood aspect, which actually is a cool throwback for me. I can't remember the last time WWE did something like that. What did you make of everything that unfolded, SB3? How the fallout could be cool?
Yes, I love the finish. Love the final like 10-15 minutes of the matchup, like Kenny said. And the finish sets up a bunch of good things where I was kind of over this feud going into the show, and now I realistically can see them pulling out like 2 more major events out of this, because at Crown Jewel, they can now do Edge and Beth versus Finn and Rhea. Then at Survivor Series, they can do the first ever intergender Survivor Series elimination matchup of Judgment Day versus Ray, Edge, AJ Styles, and Beth Phoenix. So I would love all of that. It kind of reignited the Judgment Day. It was the right move to put Finn over, but no, I do not need 10 minutes where the referee is asking somebody if they want to quit because someone elbowed their knee. I do not need that. I do not need that in my life. I was like, literally, you could have started the match when they went into the crowd. You could have started off the match with them going into the crowd, because it got a lot more interesting when they did that.
I feel like Edge wanted to say, get the thing out of my fucking face. Like, get it away. But yeah, like that again. But maybe without the, maybe it didn't have to be 15 minutes, but the slow start, then it doesn't mean as much when it gets into the. If they just went full bollock straight away, it's not the same, is it? So I understand. I do understand. But alas, there are good options coming out of this feud. Like you said, it's something that really needed it, because again, coming in with thinking, God, where are we going to go with this? But yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with what's going on with Judgment Day.
When was the last time under a Vince watch that you got 10 minutes like that where you were like you were just like wowed by it, like you were wowed by all of it. It's been ages. Very rare do we get it, and it sets up current people. It's not, Edge was the person who kind of was part of it, but like there was loads of other people who were getting stuff out of it. It wasn't just about the old guy or the veteran.
Yeah, one of the first ones that springs to mind is the end of Survivor Series 2014. The last 10-15 minutes of that is incredible. Sting's debut and Dolph finally getting the win. But again, I've just had to go back 8 years to give you an example. Because I was also going to say Ronda Rousey's debut was also an incredible home straight. Yeah. But that's really a Triple H thing, is it not? Then Vince?
Do you remember how long Ronda pointed at that sign when they all stood in the ring? Like, I don't have enough room. And then the 3 champions just stand there like...
It's like, this is awkward.
Your turn.
Let it breathe.
What do we think about Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre? 10-minute strap match. We spoke about this the other day. I said to you, SB3, it's hard to have a good strap match, and you countered that. Was this one that is added to the good list? Yes or no?
This is one of many that is forgettable. It's forgettable.
The finish, pepper spray to Drew's. Drew's already got his hands over his eyes, by the way, and she's trying to pepper that shit in, and he's
To be fair, it's better than a fireball. It worked more effectively than the fireball.
I don't think you'd keep your shoulders down. If anything, I think that would aid the kick out. You could be going, oh fuck! You'd be everywhere, wouldn't you? Trying to get out. You wouldn't just lay there and go, well, that's got me for 3. My eyes are burning to shit right now. Hey, you got me.
Hey, I'm happy they put over Karrion Kross. He needs it, but
no, that's true.
This hasn't worked out too well in comparison to the other guys who they positioned higher up the card in their returns. Braun Strowman's getting a bigger reaction than him. We heard the reaction for Bray. Even Johnny Gargano, who you could compare, I guess, his position to where they put in Karrion Kross. He's more over right now than Karrion Kross. So I don't know what they have to do, but I hope they are not continuing the Drew McIntyre feud, because I think they've gotten as much out of this as they can.
No, Drew McIntyre feud is short, SB3. Listen, I should have said when we was on our last topic, because it's a good way to shoehorn it in, the Good Brothers. Right? We were talking about possible, machinations of that rivalry going forward, and obviously there's Finn and the AJ component. The Good Brothers, according to PW Insider, are on their way back to WWE. As Kenny will know, Finn Balor told Inside the Ropes at Clash at the Castle that he was talking to them every day, and he thought it was a matter of time before they returned to the company. It was inevitable. Makes me believe that they would be inserted into that picture. Would that make sense? But maybe not into Judgment Day. Maybe it's with AJ against Judgment Day, and then you got the 3-on-3. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I think it's going to be AJ and the Good Brothers against the Judgment Day. But I do want to take a moment to talk about how horrible Karrion Kross is briefly, because I feel like it needs to be said. I mean, this guy is, fucking unseasoned chicken is an upgrade from this guy. He is like, people had said that as Killer Kross in Impact, he was like really exciting, and I'm like, did he have a bypass en route to WWE? Like, you've got Scarlett who came in and she looks like sex on a stick, right? She looks fantastic. She deserves so much better than him. You know, she's like, the end is near. Well, it fucking is. If he's going to be wrestling every week, do you know what I mean? It's like, my God. It's just every week. He's just... Triple
H does seem to love him for some reason.
Yes. Well, do you know what? I love the Great Khali, but I wouldn't put him in the main event. If I booked a wrestling promotion on it, I love Akeem, but I wouldn't put him on TV in 2022. Be able to separate who you like. He's just not exciting, right? He's the sort of person who keeps you whelmed the whole time. You're never overwhelmed. You're whelmed. He's a whelm. He's a big whelm.
I don't want to go to SB3 knows exactly what I think about Karrion Kross. I've said many times I am no fan.
Are you excited by him?
No, Kenny, I've been the longest detractor. I've taken flack for my detracting, nonetheless. In NXT,
also the long hair's not good. Like, shave the head.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, did you see somebody put a thing on Twitter where it was like Karrion Kross's match at the beginning of the match, Karrion Kross's hair at the beginning of the match, and at the end, it's just, I'm not into it. It's like, he's. I could say many more things, but I won't. I'll try and be kind.
I've never bought the Brock Lesnar-esque presentation. I've said this all along.
Does someone say that?
No, but I just mean
that's how he's presented.
That's how I interpreted his like NXT run. He was like this unstoppable beast. And you just thought.
Because remember, somebody said, he had that great 5-way in NXT. It was like the one where the 4 guys worked really well around him. Like the what fall and pray. I hear it in my sleep. I can't get rid of it.
Last
you know
one.
What? I would rather watch. I'm not making this up.
All right, go on.
Send me the 3-disc Best of Tony Storm DVD. I'll put that on first. That's going to go on first.
I don't feel like Tony Storm deserves to be in this bracket.
We're gonna send him a DVD. We're gonna send him a DVD of the Cole Gargano trilogy. That's what we're gonna do.
I remember being there live once, and I'm just sitting there, right, and there's all these people just jizzing over these near falls, right, and I'm just looking around going, "You absolute muppet!"
Jazzing, they're jazzing.
And the thing was, because they always go on last, right? So the bar's closed. What are you going to do? You can't even get a wee Coors Light to sit and watch the 79-minute Gargano Cole Classic.
That happened to me and you in Blackpool. Do you remember this, Kenny? We were going to get a drink at NXT UK. Finn Balor comes back. We're like, we'll get a drink next. No, you won't. The bar's closed. It was like fucking 9 o'clock. Ridiculous.
It's great.
Ridiculous.
This is why people bring boot flasks. Not me, but people bring boot flasks.
Last couple to we've already kind of touched on Belair Bailey. We've spoken about Belair's, Super Cena-esque mannerisms and booking. And I mean, I guess we'll see where that goes.
At least the one thing you can say is, last year at SummerSlam, she was given the worst sort of moment, right? Like, and obviously they reconciled it, but like, her winning and going over is not like, it's not like she's John Cena who's been around for 10 years. SB3 disagree with that facial expression.
No. I made a face that they have recovered her from SummerSlam, because I still don't think she's as over as she was. At SummerSlam 2000.
Kenny, don't get SB3 started on this. I think Bianca Belair is a wonderful babyface. You just don't want WWE to book them to harm her with the booking, which I feel like they could be in danger of doing if they keep just having her super strong over the next few months.
I think they just need to add goodwill. I think they need to add like different layers to her character, like more than the hair and the EST. It's like if you, like MJF on Dynamite a few months ago, he did that promo about, you know, I was bullied in school and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, wow, that's like major. So like have something with her that would be different, would be good.
Yeah, Queen Monet. Am I the only one who thinks her being like super senior is not a good thing? No, I think we're all saying it's not a good thing. That's my issue. Is you don't want to book her in a certain way where you lose all of the goodwill that really she has earned, and her superstar presentation is well deserved, in my opinion. You just
Do you
don't
know what
want to fuck it up.
You could also do something where, you know, if say that you do the WrestleMania title matches and Bianca's not involved, you could do something where the Street Profits and Bianca face Judgment Day with Rhea, and you could do something with like a six person. You know, because you could have them sort of Judgment Day bring in the marriage and all that, and then make it personal. So that's another way to kind of add a layer to the story.
They've got like Bianca as a super athlete as well, and I feel like now they're giving Rhea like China vibes, right? So you could plausibly have a feud kind of around that where Rhea's the only one that can really match Bianca in that department. But
do you know one of my I'll be quick, sorry, because I know we're going. One of my favorite things of all time, right, is Bianca Belair obviously did not grow up a wrestling fan, right? She's in it now, she's in it for the long haul. But some person at WWE thought, do you know what? We're doing a Mattel figure reveal party. Do you know who'd be great in that? Bianca Belair. So she's sitting there with Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano.
You don't know nothing.
Right? Who Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are planning their next 57-minute masterpiece, right? But they're talking about like the reveal of fucking the Goon from 1996. And Bianca's just sitting there trying to think of something to say. And then it made me think if when you asked her about Stone Cold or The Rock, who's your favourite? And that woman ran to Switzerland so fast. She ran there so fast. Just go, couldn't possibly say. Love them both, big fans. And it's like, she's in it, no one puts such Trish and Lita, like she's going to say one over the other. She was Switzerland. She was Cesaro in that interview when you were giving her that quick fire.
Even if you don't watch wrestling, say The Rock. The fuck's the matter with you? You know? Come on. It's The Rock. It's The Rock, damn it. That's
one day you'll get your interview, Alex. One day you will interview The Rock and you'll be happy.
Listen, I'm gonna keep.
Do you know what I was thinking about?
GMing Brian Gewitz till he gives it to me. Go on.
What I'd like to do is have The Rock be in some situation where I save him from a near-death experience, right? Like he's about to get run over and I save him. And he goes, oh, what can I do to repay you? 3-night tour and weekly podcast for a year and one interview with Alex McCarthy.
That's it. That's not much. That's really not much. I'm sure you could move that. I'm sure you could move that man Matt out of the road in the nick of time. I've seen you. Let's before we get to Bray Wyatt, let's talk about the main event very quickly. Then Matt Riddle, Seth freaking Rollins, 16 minutes in the fight pit. I've got to tell you, I thought Daniel Cormier was a good little addition here. I liked his little interactions with Seth Rollins. Didn't do too much, but enough to kind of, you know, I'm a former heavyweight fucking champion. Don't fuck around like that. I got that vibe, which was mission accomplished. Even if you didn't know who Daniel Cormier was, I felt like he did a good job of kind of. Even though he's, you know, packed on a bit of timber, he's still a devastating man.
He's not a little addition, let's be fair.
Just a little bit. I mean, for a second there, I thought it was Carl Winslow as the referee.
Hey, now I'm not going in on my boy TC, but still,
those referee shirts are not visually appealing. Like, remember when Shawn Michaels came back and he was all drugged up in 2000 and he had to tuck the referee shirt in and it just looked like he had a wee podge and he was fine. Those referee shirts are not flattering to the front.
No, they're not. But what did we make of the match itself? Riddle gets the victory, presumably heading to the trilogy between these two. And I guess it's nice for Riddle to get a victory in his match since the opener he lost with Tim Thatcher, obviously. But that was in NXT. It doesn't count in WWE land, does it? So what do we think, though? Riddle getting the victory over Seth Rollins. Who's going to win this feud, Kenny?
Well, I mean, I don't even know if we're going to get another match in the feud because Seth Rollins obviously tonight is going to face Bobby Lashley. I think he's going to win, and he's going to. So, I mean, I think if they do another one, Seth probably because Seth's taken a lot of losses this year. I did say recently, and I think it's just worth bringing up here that I think Seth deserves a lot of credit. That like, there's not a lot of wrestlers who, when they're not in the title picture, can remain such a big star and in losses and stuff. Like he has done such a good job of being consistently on such a level that like he's not fallen whatsoever. So I think that Riddle had to win the match. If they go, I almost wouldn't go back to a third, because if you do, Seth has to win it. So maybe just keep them apart and keep Riddle away from him, come back to it later on. But I thought the fight pit was probably the best choice to be the main event. I mean, Edge and Balor would have been good, but then, why would Judgment Day leave and Bray was coming out? So, I think they made the right call being that being the main event. Cormier, I thought was good. I don't know why during that point where Seth was it the curb stomp and then Cormier just didn't count for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
Look, are they setting something up? Maybe is that the idea that like maybe I don't know, but I thought Cormier was good. Right finish, so good things all around.
Yeah, Cormier won't be available much. Like I think scheduling wise, I remember I interviewed him last year, and he was saying the entire reason he didn't become a commentator was because he has a good gig with UFC, which obviously dominates a lot of his Saturdays. I mean, it's hard to get a payoff if you want to get DC in an angle. But what do you think, SP3? What does Riddle do from here?
I would think Riddle, they are going to do a third match. It just seems like that's what WWE would do, and adding the US title to it would make it a little bit more interesting for the third matchup. They can do that at Crown Jewel, but I don't know what direction Riddle goes. Like if he was on, SmackDown, I would say he's a great guy to be against Gunther next, but there's less options for him on Monday Night Raw. I think that he's one of the guys that would get a lot from switching brands, because he has a lot of more fresh matchups on SmackDown in comparison to Raw. But I thought the fight pit was fine. I don't think Seth Rollins is the right person for the fight pit. I think that a lot of people were expecting it to be like the previous fight pits, which were hard-hitting, full of submissions. That's not Seth Rollins' game. He tried to make it innovative in a way with like the RVD. I love the RVD cosplay that goes in his trolling Mount Rushmore right there. And I love the 5-star frog splash. But until it got on the platform, I didn't find the match that interesting. Maybe
Seth had a late flight home as well. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's get to what everybody was. I mean, our main thumbnail. You only have to wait an hour and 6 minutes to talk about it. It's Bray Wyatt's return to WWE. I said it on Twitter. I'll say it again. Gave me goosebumps watching this. The way WWE set it up was just fantastic, and the Philadelphia crowd did a great job of making the moment. That these are the moments you love in wrestling, where it's just that visceral reaction and the payoff. We all kind of knew it was Wyatt, but the same way we all knew it was Punk. Like, if you get what you want, it still makes the moment, and everybody showed exactly how much that appreciation they have for Wyatt. And this is a man whose character was all over the shop by the time he left. Right, the booking had been butchered to death. Who knew what the Fiend even was? Now he's back. We're yet to find out what he is. Wyatt 6 looks like all of the characters from the Funhouse perhaps are coming to life. What do we think, Kenny? What do we think of the moment and the possible stable?
I don't want to say everything because I don't want SP3 to be the second who's like, Kenny's just said all the shit I was going to say. So I'll try and keep it. But I loved it so much. It was perfect. So my other half, his friends were over for the weekend. So they left on Sunday, so I'd avoided spoilers. And I'm kind of watching the show, and I was okay, the fight pit, that's fine. And I was kind of resigned to, like, they might not debut him at Extreme Rules. It might not be him, blah, blah, blah. But when the lights went out, I was like, oh my God, it's fucking him. It's fucking him. And the whole thing was perfect. All the nods to the previous characters. Bray Wyatt is, and everybody in life has this, he is the relationship or friendship that you know is not good for you and you cannot get rid of, right? He is bad for you. But every time they come back and they flash you the smile or the whatever it is they offer you that you love, he's offering it again. And we're all sucked back in.
I keep doing shows of SP3. Exactly that reason.
Yeah, every week you're sucked back into that smile. Look at that smile. But like, that's it. It's like I'm back to where I was in like 2019 with The Fiend. I'm back to where I was with 2016 after the Undertaker debacle at WrestleMania 31. So I think that there's a lot of possibilities, and I think the big difference is Triple H booking. I feel more confident that we might get good stuff out of it. Especially him with no mask on. Because I actually, I tweeted this out and I wanted to just read it out to you. Actually, I saw a guy, somebody who I follow on Twitter. You should follow. Andrew the Giant is his Twitter handle, and he had said he was talking about how Grado, the British wrestler, had met Bray Wyatt at a Comic Con in 2019, and their interaction just really tickled me. Where this is really bad video with me trying to scroll through to find this. Yeah, so here, I just want to read this. It's so good. Grado met Bray Wyatt at the Liverpool Comic Con and basically summed up his gimmick to Bray. Bray said, "I did the Fiend thing. The matches were shit. I didn't enjoy it. It was the same shit every month." And Grado replies, "I be a mask was scary, wasn't it?" And that's the interaction.
And Wyatt, I bet Wyatt was like,
"Sorry, what?
What did you say?" Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited, and I think that it's good if you're somebody who either you're just a WWE fan or you're a fan of WWE and AEW. It's nice to get a WWE moment again that we can kind of go, there's one of those, rather than always being the other side.
I was always huge on the original Bray Wyatt. Like, I mean, I thought the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse reinvention was cool until it got butchered. You know, there's only so many ways you can ever go with like an invincible character.
Yeah.
Kane met a similar demise. When he first arrived, it was, oh, Jesus Christ. And then slowly but surely they did the big, I mean, he's doing himself dirty now. But either way, I adored him for a while, and then his matches became the same. It was like, oh, they're beating him in all stupid ways, and you know how it goes. But with Bray and the possible stable now, it seems like we might get something closer to the cult that he once had. And as Triple H did say in his Ariel Helwani interview, like, he kind of understands the creativity of Bray maybe better than Vince McMahon did. You got cause for optimism with this Wyndham 6 SP3?
No, not at all. No, of course I do. No, this was one of the best WWE returns of the decade. Just production wise, like literally, I had it mapped out in my head because I watched it so many times of how it went down. Just the lights going out, the fireflies, then you get the roar of the crowd, then you hear he's got the whole world in his hands. And I love how from SmackDown to Extreme Rules, WWE just said, okay, enough of the teasing. We're just gonna it's Bray. Like the QR code on Triple H's mic on SmackDown led you to Huskits melting, and then you get the start of the show with the 8-bit going down to hell. I was like, okay, they're just saying it's gonna be Bray. We just gotta hold on tight for the end of the show. They're gonna bring it. I love them putting up the N logo. I love that, getting the call up from NXT to the main roster here with the ending there, and then all the Firefly Funhouse characters coming to life. Rambling Rabbit looked scary as hell. I will say that 100%. And then, going back to the Firefly Funhouse, and it's all in ruins. And now this new Black Phone version of Bray Wyatt with the new mask. Loved every bit of this. And it also, the Wyatt 6 could be a stable, but it could also mean this is the 6th iteration of Bray Wyatt in WWE. In FCW, he was Wyndham Rotunda, then he became Husky Harris, then he became the cult leader Bray, then he was Firefly Funhouse Bray, then The Fiend, and now we got this one, 6. So it could be either or. I'm down for it. I'm down for it having double meanings as well. So I like all of this, and there's a lot of different, creative options that they can go with Bray here. The number one thing Triple H needs to learn from Vince McMahon's failings is if Bray Wyatt says he's going to do something, he needs to do it. That was the biggest issue with Bray Wyatt. The soliloquies, the promos are all great, but when they stop meaning anything and he doesn't come through on his promises, it stopped meaning a lot to a lot of different people. That's the main thing they got to accomplish here.
That was a big problem because his promos were so magical and engrossing, and then people just were like, who cares? He's going to lose every feud he's in, which he did.
Also, the promos went on to just be a sort of rambling mess that never meant anything. That was the problem. Like, it wasn't even about losing. It was about, like, when he lost to The Undertaker, like Sondra, who I podcast with on Patreon, she started watching wrestling in 2010, and Bray Wyatt was like her favorite. And, Undertaker for her was a bit like, oh, this old guy keeps coming back. And everybody loves him, but there's never any storyline about him apart from a bad wig. And then he comes out like like he's just like recovered from something and just got a shite haircut, and he comes out and does this half-arsed performance, beats Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt's whole thing is, I'm going to beat the Undertaker and become the new Phenom, and he doesn't do it, and it's never mentioned. There's no like he has to recover from that. So I think the reacting to loss needs to be the big thing, or reacting to situations is the big thing. I feel like a lot of people were frustrated that Wyatt never did before.
Reports that Bo Dallas, his real life brother, heading back to the company. They've got to be put together, have they not? Finally,
Yes, please. I've been calling for this since the original Wyatt family.
Way overdue, in my opinion. You could have easily taken, but when the B team was done, and it had a little run, right? When that was done, they should have got him in there then. But
yeah. Is there enough? Because I've heard a lot of people talk about, should he be on his own for a while before he's with people or whatever? Like, do you guys think, should he be on his own for a while? Should it be straight into other people?
Well, it's interesting that Nino says here, too many factions for me at the moment. I just want to see him on his own. I'm the opposite. I've been pining for groups and stables in WWE for a while. I actually don't mind the way that AEW do it, and I'm glad to see more units in WWE now. I think as long as whatever Bray does plays into the character, and if he is like this cult leader and whimsical talker as we all know him to be, then I'm down. As long as anything makes sense, I'm down. Right, like it's that simple. And I feel like with Bray, you've got every facet of his character can be explored, and that probably will take multiple people to kind of peel back the layers. So, man, I'm all for it. I like factions. I'm guilty on that.
And I hope they use the QR codes as part of the character. Like, I want to see wrestlers taking a picture of the QR code and Bray sending the messages through the QR code. That's how we get to the Wyatt 6. It needs to be a build-up to the stable. I don't just want to randomly see like Liv Morgan. She smiled when she was in a submission. Now she's in Wyatt's family. No, I don't. I want to see a build-up to it.
I will say this: when they were revealing all the puppets live in the arena, it was like just a screen of all my former Grindr hookups, just one by one, just like, oh my god, no, that was the 3am one. Oh no, that was the So it was a bit of PTSD for me, but I'm glad that I think he's got to have people with him, because the whole thing of Bray Wyatt and every incarnation that you talked about is that he's always been this guy who lures people in, whether it's the Fiend or whether. So the luring has to continue, I think.
Yeah, he's got that seductive energy,
just like you, Alex.
Old Bray, just like me, seducing you all to come back to us each Monday, 8 p.m. here on ITR Clips. This has been.
Can I bring one quick thing up, Alex? That's really been bothering me, right?
Go on.
So SP3, right? I love the nod to Sunday Night Heat. I love it so much. It's a big fan of it.
I know what you're about to say.
Now, what they used to do for every graphic, say it was Alex McCarthy, it would be capital A, capital L, small e. The vowel was where the small letter started. And you've got a small fucking R there in true. And I'm not happy about it. I just want you to know that.
Innovation.
I don't appreciate it.
Innovation. That's how you innovate with a parent.
Oh, fuck off with your innovation shite. The banner's only in the middle section of the room. It's like Windows 95. Stretch the fucker.
Windows 95.
Half the audience don't know what that is.
Yeah, nor should they, Kenny. Shame on us, to be fair. Matty says he sent a tip. Where is our people letting us know about these things?
Thank you, Matty.
Keeping
the lads going.
There's keeping the lights on here on Monday Night Live. I normally get a notification, Matty, about these sort of things, but I have not tonight. So I'm going to have to stall while I look for this thing.
SP3, I'm not fucking happy about your small R. You can take your small R, get a new one, big R, small U. Would that be so hard?
And then ITR, graphic team, they can make me a new one. That would be great. If I could get the R that they use for ITR clips, I'll use that on this right here.
I'll make a call. To Cyprus.
Send it through.
All right.
Did you find that? No.
No, I found an old donation from him. This has not been updated. Double A needs to be sacked, Kenny. What's going on?
Can you? I love the idea that Matty didn't send a tip, but put in a super chat to tell us he sent one, so he's getting the thanks for the tip without sending it.
And he sent me a wild. he sent me on a wild goose chase just for his amusement, maybe. Yeah, that'd be good. Anyway,
should
thank
we
you
end,
very
should
much,
we end with a
everyone.
shag, marry, kill?
Sure, go on, and you do it, brother. Go on. I know you've got
Okay,
one
so-
in the chamber.
For you two, here we go. Let's come up with a good 3. Okay. Otis,
Fucking hell.
Triple H, and Tamina Snuka.
Oh wow.
We like reasons, remember.
I mean, by the process of elimination, and Tamina, fine. I'm shagging Tamina. We're shagging.
Right.
Listen,
Lucky her.
yeah. What is she? She's an elder woman for me. Tremendous. She'll show me a great time. And I hope is my missus around? Shit. Also, marry Triple H. Look, that's worked out wonders for everyone else. You'll end up famous and rich. He knows what he's doing. He only marries up. He'd be shocked when he marries me. But I will be marrying up, so that's fine. I'll get some footing in WWE and make some rubbish happen. That Mae Young's popping out hands. Well, not Mae Young, but somebody's popping out hands again. And then what does that mean? I'm killing Otis, I guess. I mean, you can't. It's better.
I mean, if cholesterol doesn't get him, you will. So one of the two will.
This is it. I mean, otherwise, shagging him sounds like I won't win that fight. And marrying him, I mean, it's just a lifetime of difficulty. No,
great food though. SPK.
I mean, winters are cold here in New York, so I might need Otis to sleep with. He'll get me very warm with his body. But I'm gonna shag. Yeah, I'll shag Triple H because he's a marathon man. He'll go 30 minits with me, and we'll go
SB3.
Got a stint in his heart. You're gonna. What do you mean, he's a marathon man?
He's a marathon man. It don't matter. He continued wrestling with a torn quad. He could put
Imagine
in
what
that
he'd
work.
do to you when he's making love. Oh my god.
mate.
Oh, imagine he tears his quad making love to me. Oh my god.
He's popped out 3 daughters. He's potent.
Or he texts Kevin Nash on the
potent.
I'm gonna marry Tamina, and I'm gonna have to kill Otis. I'm sorry, Otis.
Marrying Tamina, you're gonna have a lot of tweets to answer to in your lifetime.
I wish I married Tamina now because she's related to The Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that extension.
I got a free house.
A different relation there, but that's fine. You got the good one.
I get to get given a house.
Just don't visit Allentown, Pennsylvania. But anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll pick one each. SP3 for Kenny, right? I'm going to give him Shelton Benjamin.
Right.
That's one. SP3, have you got one to chuck on the list?
Charlie Haas.
Oh wow. And what was the name? Oh god. Who was like the dominatrix bird for
Shaniqua,
fashion?
Linda Miles.
There you go. Shaniqua.
She's
in there.
dead.
Linda Miles.
Straight away. She's killed straight away. Vagina no party is my rule. That's the first rule. So she's gone.
She's gone.
Oh jeez.
I mean, Charlie Haas looks a bit like a burst couch, so you'd need. I feel like with Charlie Haas, get him drunk enough, it won't last that long. So I would just kind of, throw him a wee pump. It'll help him get back.
A wee pump, he says.
And then Shelton Benjamin. I mean, look at that guy. He's fucking 45. He looks 32. I'm going with Shelton. Me and Shelton. I don't think Shelton would want to move to Glasgow. I feel like I'd probably need to move to Florida or wherever he is.
And you know what they say, Kenny? Black don't crack, but your back will.
Oh goddamn!
There is a visual image to haunt my dreams.
I've got it in my head, front and center.
My God. Anyway, Monday Night Live.
Anyway, make sure you come back for more chat like this, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us here on Monday.
Vagina no party.
Live.
That's the rule.
It's Kenny's rule. Thank you for joining us on ITR.
Yours is no vagina, no party.
I'm trying to tell people to like, to share, to subscribe, and they're being forcibly no vagina.
No. There's consent in the subscribe, everybody. Don't worry.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Sure. Me and SP3 will be back at 8 p.m. right here next Monday. And we are going to start having some more features on this show and a new start time that we will clue you into in the coming days. Until then, I want to thank you from me, Alex McCarthy, SP3, and the Godfather himself, Kenny McIntosh. Thank you very much for joining us here on Monday Night Live. Good night.